I am in prison for murder AMA. Update 08/24/12:45 CST. I have a large amount of answers for people's questions I will be adding throughout the day. 08/22/4:30 CST. I have sent a large amount of questions to prisoner in an institution email. It should arrive to them tonight and we should have another phone call later tonight as well. A couple of people have asked about how to donate for education/appeal/cost of communication for this AMA of yours. So inclined. Cash App is $appeal fund, but no one is obligated to donate. Thanks for the conversation and for the well wishes, and especially the leads for employment after release. 08/22/12:10 CST. Prisoner is currently answering questions as quickly as possible. This does cost $, so trying to get many done in one go as possible. Also would like to discuss verification but remaining anonymous if anyone has any tips on that. Update 08/21/10:30 PM CST. Prisoner has gone to bed for the night. We will resume answering questions in the morning. Please feel free to leave whatever you'd like for then. Thanks guys for all of the support and interest. First things first, the owner of this account is not the person in prison. Clearly, I am just relaying answers, comments, etc. so response times might be delayed. I am in prison for murder. I can provide proof upon request to verify who I am, but would prefer to stay anonymous. Keep in mind, since I am in prison, the person running this AMA for me has to gather questions and then wait for my response. Please be patient. Nothing is off limits, so AMA. What's the hardest part of adjusting to life in prison? Waiting on an answer from prisoner for this one. Don't think I'm ignoring you. The hardest part is getting used to other inmates and their underlying rules and routines. Was it an accidentally murder or planned homicide? If planned, how'd you do it? I was not a part of the planning. I was also told that the crime was only going to be a robbery, not a murder. So, what happened? How did it turn from robbery to murder? Did someone try to kill you first? I'm not a lawyer, but in the US there is a crime called felony murder. If a person is killed in the course of committing a felony, everyone involved in committing that felony can be found guilty of murder. Sounds like that could be what happened here. This happened to a friend of mine. Her and her BF robbed someone in a parking lot. Then had a standoff with police where the BF was shot and killed. She was then charged with felony murder. She killed herself in the jail shower not long after. Jesus H. Yeah, she was only 23. That was a hard loss. Why did they rob someone? And why was there a standoff? She got involved with some dude that was way older. He introduced her to heavy drugs. And when the cops pulled them over, they thought he pulled a knife. Below is the news story that has a link to the video of the cops gunning down the BF. Here's the news story. The thing that tore my friends and I up. She was at a women's sober house with us. I'm 4 years clean off multiple drugs. The day before this happened, she left. We tried to stop her. We tried to help her. I'm 44 and my oldest son, who is 24, is struggling with addiction. And she was so GD young. It was such a waste. Nah, to me it sounds like they said, hey, we are going to rob this guy. Then they got there and things escalated and they killed the guy in addition to robbing him. I'm not trying to out you as a lawyer, but I feel a lawyer would say I'm not a lawyer online to protect themselves. You obviously have never visited r/legal advice. It's all I anal over there. You mean I heavy black heart anal? What actually happened, and are there any articles online I can find of it? There are articles and even a couple of TV shows about this crime. I will ask them if I can share those publicly or not. Of course, thank you. It was you. You stole his identity and killed someone. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. God damn it. Remind me in 187 hours. Remind me 12 hours. Remind me 9 hours. Remind me 9 hours. After carefully thinking about this overnight and out of respect for the victim's family, I am not going to disclose who I am publicly. However, if anyone knows a way that I can anonymously verify this to a mod or someone, I am more than willing to do that. I am more than willing to tell you my story, but I cannot and will not tell theirs or involve the victim's family to be possibly reminded of this tragedy over and over. I think that is for the best. It's great that you aim to respect the victim and their family while still raising awareness. There is enough info here to figure out who you are, but if people choose to look into this, I hope they also respect your decision and not post the info on this thread. Remind me 9 hours. Was the person whom you invaded their home an innocent unknown, to you, person? Or was the person a known acquaintance to you? What were you hoping to get off the person? I knew of this person, but didn't know them personally. I was held at gunpoint and forced into my role. Not that it excuses my part in it, it just is what it is. They were looking for money. Interesting. Hope you don't feel offended, but it seems as if you minimize your role, while magnifying others. If you were kidnapped, and forced to participate, that information should have been used by your attorney to lessen your involvement, even if it wasn't successful, maybe perhaps because of past altercations, or a bad lawyer. Anyway, the reality is you are incarcerated, and should be congratulated for using your time to get an education. Is it possible to get a degree? No offense at all, I don't intend to minimize my involvement, I just want to tell the whole story as it was/is. I was not kidnapped. A few days before the night of the crime, I was held at gunpoint and told I was playing my role in this. I was told if I were to go to the authorities I would die, as would everyone I loved. I was assigned a public defender who made a pitiful attempt at using that as part of my defense, but when the plea was offered I took it because the judge believed I could have gone to the authorities beforehand. He isn't wrong, I also could have gone in the days after the crime was committed and I did not. I am in no way, shape or form innocent. Thank you. I would love to get a degree while incarcerated, but unfortunately our government does not allow people with a life, with parole or not, sentence to use financial aid. As you can imagine, I don't, nor does my family, have the money to pay for college courses. So at this time it will have to wait until my release. Are there free universities you could use? Happy Cake Day. This may be strange timing, but happy Cake Day, Pappy. Thank you. This post reminds me that there is always something good around the corner. I hope Op finds joy and has something to look forward to as well. Happy Green Triangle Day. Come on, someone try and tell me that actually looks like a cake. You mentioned serving 7 years, do you find them getting easier as time goes on? Does a part of you not want to get out? Are you afraid of going back into society if possible? It gets easier and it gets harder at the same time. It's easier because it becomes your normal, but the longer I am here the more I long to be home with my loved ones. No part of me doesn't want to get out. There are parts of going back into society that scare me. Life is already different, my loved ones try to keep me as updated as possible. I am very lucky in the fact that I have an amazing support system outside, and I know if at any point I am overwhelmed or frightened I can reach out to them. What do you think of 2020 and its mission to kill us? How bad is the food? Not up, but I can answer that. Bad. At least from the kitchen. It depends on when and where you do your time. When I did a stint in county they did chicken quarters twice a month that were good for being outside. There were options that weren't terrible, and many that almost made me vomit the first time I ate it. Now, the stuff you can make out of what you can get on commissary can be pretty darn tasty. I still make some of the ramen creations occasionally. Good tip: if you're short on cash outside, you can add ramen to damn near anything. Food in county was so disgusting. When I was in county, we could order full meals from the staff kitchen from our commissary as often as we wanted, a week in advance. Cheeseburgers, fries, soda, it was a huge menu. Expensive as all hell but incredibly satisfying if you could afford it? You mean you could order while upstate? I know one of the jails around my area, they only let you order twice a week, but you're ordering from outside, real cheese mistakes, hoagies, etc. Yeah, in my local county jail. You could order it every day if you wanted. It did not make you very popular with your peers, though. I was in a block with 26 other females, so the majority was either asking you for most of your food, asking you to buy them stuff because they assumed you had a lot of money on your books or thought you were a rich bitch. For real. That's pretty bangin' at county level. I heard that though, there's a lot of bitches in jail, and not all on the female unit. How expensive was it? I'm assuming they jack up the prices for simple pleasures in there. Like a razor being like $10. You learn really quickly that quality means more than quality. That's how bad it is. Good bot. LMAO, that one long one of the guy telling up off as if they haven't already been incarcerated. What a noble work they're doing. Aw, nice bot. Are you guilty as charged? That's subjective. I did not murder anyone, nor did I have that intention. However, I did participate in a crime that led to someone's death by another person's hands. Is that you or your lawyer talkin'? Haha, I will relay that to him, but I can answer that it was him answering. You didn't need to answer that. I recommend the defendant applies better thought in the choice of counsel. I think that it's wrong to judge things as plain right or wrong. Gray is not all right either. Actions are colorful. Any advice for other people going to prison? They said this might take a minute to think of. Don't think I'm ignoring you. While they are thinking, I can tell you my old man, who is doing 8 years for burglary and related charges, would say. Stay away from the 3 Gs. Gays, gangs and gambling. LMFAO gays? Be gay, do crime. Not meant like that. Guess should have explained. Explanation below. In prison things are much different than out here. Do you plan on escaping? No. I want to go home eventually. How long have you got left? My sentence was life with the possibility of parole. I could parole in up to 3 years. Will you try to get a better lawyer on parole? If you get it, and I hope you do. I think a good lawyer can get you like 10 years in tops. In Turkey, if you are forced to commit a murder of another person, it counts as self-defense, and I added some years for gun robbery. LMAO, imagine him saying yes to the person running this AMA, who's probably an employee. It's a loved one of the prisoner, actually. Ah, okay. Sorry, just read the edit on the post now. Questions about prison. 1. What's covered like in prisons? 2. Are there certain crimes that make one more likely to be hated by the other prisoners? Or certain crimes that garner respect? Edit. Also, are you M or F? Child rapists pretty much always have their left eye carved out in prison. I thought nonces got put together in separate wings to make sure stuff like that can't happen. Prisoners are creative, they find a way. Wow, I wonder who sharpens the melon baller for that little penalty. Do they have specialists who routinely cut out eyeballs, or are they picked by popular vote? I'm not up, but I can answer number 2 for you. A lot of crimes against women and child can get you killed in a prison. It's not like in the movies where everyone talks about their crime, they prefer to keep quiet and get out of there. Most of the time. I have a family member in prison who was put there for sexual harassment of a child, and they had to move him multiple times because he's been threatened and attacked for it. Inmates don't mess around, that kind of stuff. Chris Watts would have enjoyed it then, the scumbag. I wonder, does that mean you can threaten a prisoner by yelling their crime out to the prison? Obviously not up, but generally in America there is a hierarchy of prisoners based on their crimes. From what I've read/seen, Generally cop killers are at the top of said hierarchy, and anything involving children is at the bottom. It probably depends on the prison, as some don't hold people that have done these kinds of crimes. This is the hierarchy I am familiar with too, based off pop culture. I was hoping OP could confirm or deny this, as they might have seen it firsthand, but you're right, they might not be held with said prisoners. World happened. I was charged with second-degree murder, unlawful imprisonment, first-degree home invasion, armed robbery, and a felony firearms charge. Not any question. Hope you can keep your head up during the difficult days. Do not regress while in prison, come out a better person. Nothing off limits, you say. How often do you have to hoop things? GP or PC? I haven't had to and don't plan to.gp, but we have been on and off of lockdown due to COVID, so. For those confused. Hoop, hiding things up your butt. PC, protective custody. GP, general population. Thanks, this helped me. How much time you got? First, second degree? Was there a plea? Or you took it to the door? It was answered above. They got life with chance of parole. I'm wondering how well connected you are to the world. Obviously, you can do an AMA on Reddit, but what about the rest? Are you scared of eventually getting released and suddenly stand in a world that moved on without you? Like the stories of people being completely overwhelmed by cars and other technological advances. Are you scared of relapsing back to crime because you don't get good opportunities for preparing for the life after while in prison? I speak to my friend whose account this is every day, at least once a day, and a handful of other friends/family just as regularly. I am nervous about life being so different when I get out, but I know I have a strong support system that has made it clear they are here to help me. I also watch TV enough that I get bits of advancement here and there. This crime is the only crime I have ever committed, and it will be the only one I ever commit. The justice process was a lot more frustrating than I anticipated. I know that sounds vague, but it's what stood out to me. Just to clarify, do you mean my family members/loved ones? I was honest about my involvement with them. I apologized to them and made sure they understood this was my choice, not theirs. I've been in prison for going on 7 years now. I have taken every educational option offered to someone with my sentence. I am the head of several groups in my prison, and when COVID isn't a thing, I also run a small band and help other prisoners learn musical instruments. I would love to get enrolled in college, but that isn't an option in my prison for people with my sentence. Not a bad deal. First off, all countries have their own issues. Second, I have traveled around your beautiful country on vacation, more than my own, Canada. It's kind of sad, in a broken system way, that this is your takeaway from the event that occurred. For a place many people call land of the free, it is quite disturbing that in 2020 there are still people who are getting in trouble for possession of such a small amount of a substance much safer than both alcohol and cigarettes, which the government is a cartel and drug dealers in a real sense for selling these items. Not only is your cost for post-secondary education ridiculous, lawyer fees more than twice what they are here. This instance was about $4,500 Canadian, so even less money for cocaine, not weed, so one could argue is much worse. On top of that, never set foot in a jail. Also privileged to afford lawyer, which I wouldn't have been able to if it was over twice the cost if it was your equivalent fee. Also, one Oz here is currently legal, when it was illegal, pretty much decriminalization, like 10 years ago. In high school I had a friend get simple possessions, 1 ounce or under, for a quarter pound of weed. His excuse was it was his birthday, so he was planning on smoking it all with his friends as personal. On top of this, California and Colorado et.al. aren't actually legal since federal law trumps, president joke, state law. I'm not trying to say my country is better or worse. Like I said, I love visiting your country, and I would take your gun laws over our troubled system any day. All I'm saying is that while admitting to what you did was honorable, it is for sure 100% the opposite of not a bad deal. Best luck trying to get your life back on track. I know it's not easy, and I hope you get to experience true legalization soon. Thanks for sharing your story. Is the guy who did committed the murder that are charged with in the same prison as you? No. None of my co-defendants are in the same prison that I am. How was your day? Today? Pretty good. I worked out today. Tended my garden. Made some food with some friends. Played guitar. Till a prisoner for life has more hobbies than me. Say amami. What country? And how is prison in your country? I have heard it is very different depending on where. The US. It's not as bad as some places have it, for sure, but there is no rehabilitation here. Just punishment. Sorry to hear that. Thanks for watching. If you could like, subscribe and comment best Reddit stories for more Reddit videos.